when we were kind of discussing this, we obviously talked about you're very young for someone so talented and in your position. What would you recommend for other young people who are trying to get into the technology arena? How would you, what's your thoughts on getting them to dive into this and open doors?
So for young people, there's really this misconception that if you're getting into technology or computer science, that you have to take all these technology or computer science classes throughout high school and throughout college. But that definitely helps, and researching these things on your own absolutely helps. But I think without doing a project yourself, it's really hard to differentiate what you need to know at a certain point in time and what you can get to know eventually. So my biggest recommendation is really just get in there, get your hands dirty, put your feet in the water, and start a project that you're really, really interested in. Whenever you get stuck, turn to the internet, turn to a mentor. It definitely helps to have a mentor that knows a little bit more than you. But even if you don't, the internet has everything out there, like I was saying earlier. And when you do a project that you really, really are passionate about, it's not going to feel like work. This is how I've learned everything that I've done. And not for a moment has it felt like I've been working. It's really been an enjoyable process to learn everything that I have. And in terms of specifics and kind of the technical details, my recommendation is to first start off front end. This is how the app looks, how the website looks, right? For iOS, you can use Xcode, Android Studio, or for the web frameworks like React, Vue, Angular. These are relatively easy to learn when you're starting off. And the best thing about them is you can see immediate results. So whenever you make a change, that'll really pop up on your screen almost immediately. So you can be really iterative and change and do things and even see for the rest of your journey how things are affecting what it looks like. And then eventually I would move to the back end. Same process that I've done for crowd clips and all of my apps actually. You can use cloud platforms like Google Cloud, AWS, Firebase. The great thing about cloud computing today is you don't need to make your own backend. It's easy to get started. You can use these cloud platforms, and eventually, if you want to get more complex, you can make your own backend. But like I was saying, simple to complex. You want to start simple and move to complex. And when you can connect everything with your front end that you've previously built, then you can see those changes happening immediately. And one of my other biggest recommendations is to understand everything that's going on. So when you use a resource, make sure you really know what's happening with that resource. Minimize your use of prepackaged libraries and things like that. Now this is going to be more work up front, but it's a learning process. And when you can learn these things, you can better use those tools down the line that are actually going to do these things for you. And that would be my coaching for someone looking to get into this field.
So I'm gonna deviate and maybe ask a couple of questions here that just based upon the information so far, just quick kind of answers just as we come to the end of our time together. But how important is mentorship to you?
Mentorship it's extremely important. You know, I've had multiple mentors throughout my my kind of career. I think it's probably the best thing that you can do if you're trying to get into this area is find someone who knows more than you. They don't necessarily have to be older. A couple of my mentors were sometimes younger than me, even though I was starting at a young age. But someone that knows more than you, and it's in the process of tech development. There's a lot of times that you can get stuck on one problem, especially when you use this process of throwing yourself into the deep end. You can get stuck on one problem for a long time. And those mentors can really, really help in number one, helping you solve those problems, and number two, directing you on where to go and where to go to learn the best things.
And something else you mentioned, and I think it's good to hear it from you, is how important is passion in your day-to-day activities?
Passion is so important. I think that's the number one thing that I would stress to anyone trying to start up their career, is you have to be passionate about what you do. If your work feels like very tedious work and you really don't love doing it, I don't think you're going to be as successful as you would if you were working on something that you were extremely passionate about. Especially at startups, you're working crazy hours, right? Much more than a 9-to-5 job typically would, and that requires passion, like I was talking about earlier, for sure. And the more passion you have for an idea, the more you want to work at it, and the more you want to keep going with it.
Hey, look, I wonder, just as we look back, the question we asked at the moment, if people were interested in signing up for the beta, how would they actually sign up for the beta?
So if they want to go sign up for the beta, all you have to do is go to the site WeSayHi.com. Fun fact, Kleo actually used to be named We Say Hi, and we changed the name. Haven't changed the domain yet, but we'll get around to that. So go to the site WeSayHi.com, and all you have to do is enter your email, select the language you want to learn, and you'll be entered in the beta.